Hello, and welcome to another episode of Not Afraid of the Dark. My name is Sophia, and I've been doing these episodes in Portuguese for a while, but now I think it's time to bring them to English as well. So this is a podcast to see beyond. And today I'm talking about the Aquarius Eclipse on February 17th. But don't worry, if that date has already passed, stay with me. An eclipse doesn't last one day. It opens a cycle. And this one will unfold for over the next 6 months. What I'm about to share may help you understand what is beginning to shift in your life, even if you haven't fully noticed it yet. Because this eclipse isn't just about the sky. It's about how you are positioning yourself in the world. And by the end of this episode, you might realize you've already been feeling this shift for a while. So what does this eclipse activate after all? It's happening at the very end of Aquarius. Aquarius speaks about the collective, groups, networks, community, the future. And it takes place in the 11th house, so the house of alliances and shared visions. So the first question the eclipse is asking is simple. Who are you building your future with? And maybe even more important, are you in your communities because of freedom or because you're afraid of being alone? Take a breath with that. Sometimes we call something a partnership when it's actually emotional dependency. But the sky is also a little bit tense because we have an aspect with Uranus. It's in Taurus, and that brings a clash between future and safety or security. In simple terms, the future wants to emerge, it wants to be born, but your sense of security is being tested. It could be financial security, emotional security, might be that your identity is being tested. But it's as if the sky is saying, you want to change? Then you need to update your values. And here's something really important. We often think the problem is the world. Here's something really important. We often think the problem in the world is a lack of logic, a lack of common sense, a lack of information. But maybe the problem is a lack of listening. We have more information than ever. And at the same time, we seem to be feeling less and less. And we seem to be understanding less and less. This sky asks for evolutionary direction and a return to feeling, to sensing. The North Node is in Pisces, and Pisces speaks about sensitivity, intuition, perceiving the whole. We're moving away from excess analysis from a South Node in Virgo, excess perfectionism, excess control, and we're moving towards something more sensitive, more sensing. But let me be clear. Feeling or sensing is not losing discernment. Feeling or sensing is recovering embodied intelligence. And I need to share something personal in this moment because I was away for a while, and during that time I realized something difficult to admit. I was calling it maturity when it was actually repression. I was trying to be strong, positive, balanced, but I was ignoring parts of myself that wanted to be seen, that wanted to be felt, that needed to be sensed. And maybe you've been doing the same thing too. This sky really asks for spiritual responsibility. There's another powerful layer to this eclipse. Saturn and Neptune are beginning a new cycle. Structure meets vision. This means we can no longer use spirituality as escape. Sound familiar? We can't talk about energy and ignore our own bodies. We can't say we want to change the world while refusing to change how we show up in it. This eclipse is a portal of collective responsibility. But responsibility begins with the individual. Meanwhile, during this eclipse, we have Jupiter retrograde in Cancer in the fourth house. So we're reviewing foundations. What is it that we've learned about society, about the world, about history, about reality, about what's right and what's wrong? What is it that we've learned about being visible, about expressing ourselves, about taking space? What is it that we've learned about these things that needs revision? Because when it comes to saying we want recognition, for instance, saying we want to share what it is that we think, what it is that we feel, a lot of the time we don't really stop and check with ourselves. What is it that I am feeling? What is it that I am sensing? What is it that my body is trying to tell me? And then we start to feel these things and we start to think, okay, I want to share. I want the courage to be vulnerable and put myself out there, show myself to the world, connect. And then fear shows up. And maybe what's being eclipsed during this eclipse right now isn't just the sun, but it's the fact that we're hiding in our old ways of being. And that needs to change. That needs innovation. And to innovate in those things, in that area of life, we do need to revise what are the beliefs that have built our reality up to this point. What do we believe about ourselves, about the world, and as a collective, what do we believe about reality? In the next 6 months, this eclipse opens up a cycle. And you might notice that you're going to have some changes in your communities. You might see some natural distancing, new alliances, shifts in your vision, shifts in your values, maybe changes in how you want to contribute, and maybe all of the above. But you'll probably notice something above anything else, something really simple. You'll notice that you won't be able to ignore what you feel anymore, because I'm betting on the fact that the next collective leap is not even going to be technological. Yes, it will, but I believe the next collective leap is going to be a leap towards sensitivity, extra senses. It's a sensory leap, a sensory quantum leap, where we're going to be sensing a lot more about ourselves, being able to be in touch with ourselves internally. And in doing that, in reestablishing that connection with our bodies and with our inner self, we will start sensing a lot more of what's around us that we hadn't perceived before. And it's definitely going to be more about sensing, feeling, observing before reacting, listening, understanding before arguing, returning to the body, to the feeling, to the sensing before speaking. And there's another really interesting point during this eclipse that's right between the 12th house and the first house. And when we're looking at the chart as a collective, we're looking at the collective unconscious when we look at the 12th house. While when we look at the first house, we're looking at how we put ourselves in the world as well. But we have a point here, which is the Wheel of Fortune. It's right on the cusp between the 12th and the first house in Aries. Being in Aries brings that independence, courage, individualism, pioneer energy. And for me, this point is key because it's telling us, bet on yourself. Go inside, go inwards, listen to your intuition, listen to that voice inside of you that you know deep in your heart is speaking the truth, and listen to that. Bet on that, and you will have so much good fortune, more than you could have ever imagined. But I know that it might not feel so easy because we have another slight point here in the astrological chart for this eclipse, which is Chiron. This is a point in the chart that indicates pain, indicates insecurity, and it's also in Aries. So these actions that this eclipse is asking of us, they are going to stir up some insecurities. It's all so new. It's all so different. And different is scary. It's normal. We all fear the unknown. It's just the way we're wired. In my opinion, that could use a rewiring as a collective. And maybe we'll have one. Maybe we'll even have one during this eclipse. But this point in the chart indicates that, yeah, it might hurt or you might feel scared. But remember, betting on yourself, believing in yourself, and going inwards and listening to that inner voice that comes from your heart, you can't go wrong. Before we close, I do want to ask you something. Ready? When was the last time you truly paused and felt? Sensed what you were feeling without analyzing, without justifying, without turning it into productivity, just simply felt. If this episode touched something in you, I'm going to ask you to help me spread this word. Send it to someone who might also be waking up to something deeper. Because I really don't think that what's changing in the world is only political, technological, or social, but it's internal. Because the external is a reflection of the internal. And if you want to keep exploring these ideas with me, follow the podcast, share it, and tell me what you're feeling. In the next episode, I want to talk about something directly connected to this that we've been talking about. How to tell the difference between intuition and fear. Because when we begin to feel again, to sense again, that's the next question that shows up. And it's really important to be able to discern, to differentiate what is your intuition and what is simply an old fear on autopilot created by your conditioning. One, your intuition keeps you in the present moment, in the here and now, keeps you serene, keeps you in bliss and joy, even if something that's happening might not be what you'd prefer. Being in the present moment, that doesn't cause you to suffer, that doesn't cause you pain. And the other one, fear, that fragments you. It breaks you into 1,000 pieces. And that hurts. That causes a lot of suffering. And that makes you be either stuck in the past or anxious about a future that hasn't even arisen yet. So thank you if you listened to this point. My name is Sophia, and this is Not Afraid of the Dark, a podcast to see beyond. I'll see you in the next dive.